Today we're going to talk about solving quadratic equations. And an equation has a left side and a right side, as opposed to an expression which only has one side. And with an equation, what we do is we solve, find the value of the variable that makes the equation true. Before we start looking at quadratic equations, I need to make sure that we know the zero product property. The zero product property says that if I have a product, let's say A times B, and it equals 0, the only way for that to happen, just think about this for a minute, the only way for that to happen is if A equals 0 or maybe B equals 0. But there's no way to get 0 as the answer to a multiplication problem without one of the two factors being 0. I mention that because students would love to think that there is also a thing called the 5 product property, or the 8 product property, or the 12 product property. But it's just not true for any other number. Because if I tell you A times B equals 5, does A have to be 5, or maybe B have to be 5? No. A could be 10, and B could be 1/2. Neither one of them has to be 5. A could be negative 20, and B could be negative 1/4, right? It's not true that one of them has to be 5, but it is true that if A times B equals 0, one of the two had better be 0. Okay, so now we're ready to look at some quadratic equations. So we're going to start really simply. This has already been factored. X minus 5 times x plus 2 equals 0. So we see we have this times this. So this binomial times this binomial equals 0. That must mean that either x minus 5 equaled 0 or x plus 2 equaled 0, which would mean x was 5 or x was negative 2. Those are our two solutions. Okay, let's go again. 5a, 5 times a, times the quantity 2a plus 3 equals 0. Well then, either 5a equals 0 or 2a plus 3 equals 0. So this would mean either a equals 0 or 2a equals negative 3, a equals negative 3 halves. Those are my two solutions. 3 times the quantity b plus 6 times the quantity 2b minus 5 equals 0. So either 3 equals 0, well that's ridiculous, 3 doesn't equal 0. B plus 6 equals 0, or 2b minus 5 equals 0. So b equals negative 6, or b equals 5 halves. Okay, c squared minus 5c plus 6 equals 0. Notice I didn't say something times something else equals 0. So what we want to do is we want to change this into something times something else equaling 0. So we're going to create factors by factoring this. Aha. C times c is c squared. 6 could be 1 and 6, 2 and 3. I want it to be positive 6, but negative 5, so both of them have to be negative. I'm thinking negative 2, negative 3. Okay, so now instead of having c squared minus 5c plus 6 equals 0, I have the quantity c minus 2 times the quantity c minus 3 equals 0. So that means c minus 2 equals 0, or c minus 3 equals 0. So c equals 2, or C equals 3. D squared plus 11D equals 180. Well, it's not even equal to 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call this D squared plus 11D minus 180 equals 0. That's better, right? Subtract 180 from both sides. I still don't have something times something else equaling 0. So I'm going to factor this. D times D would be D squared. Factors of 180 that add up to 11. Wow. Okay. Well, it's 1 and 180, 2 and 90, oh my gosh, 3 and 60, 4 and 45, 5 and 36, 6 and 30. Will 8 divide that too? No. 9, 9 and 20. Oh, hey, 9 and 20. The 180 should be negative, but the 11 should be positive. So I'm going to make the smaller one negative and the bigger one positive. Minus 9 plus 20. So D minus, oh, D minus 9 equals 0, or D plus 20 equals 0. So D equals 9, or D equals negative 20. Phew, that was a lot of work. Oh my gosh. 3e squared minus 5e equals 2e squared minus 4e. Woo. I'm going to subtract 2e squared from both sides. And I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So this is 1e squared, or e squared, minus 5e plus 4 equals 0, right? Because I line these up, but they're not really like terms. Okay, so now I need something times something else equaling 0. So e and e. Factors of 4, 4 and 1, 2 and 2. I'm thinking 4 and 1, both negative. So e minus 4 equals 0. E minus 1 equals 0. So e equals 4. E equals 1. Presto. Well, I have equals 0, but I don't even have a trinomial. The two terms have something in common. They have 8f in common, leaving f squared minus 4. Ooh, I can factor that. 8f times f plus 2, f minus 2. So I have 8f equals 0, f plus 2 equals 0, f minus 2 equals 0. So f equals 0, f equals negative 2, f equals 2. 3 solutions. Wahoo!